welcome back. I am Bahamut, your caster, and we are going into our first and only matchup this evening, Lizard Wizards versus the Mighty Goats. This is going to be an interesting matchup. Now, the asset, I've made sure that everyone stays on their side, so on the left side we will be having the Lizard Wizards, and on the right we'll have the Mighty Goats. So we are going to be having Infernal Shrines picked, I believe, by the Lizard Wizards, so that gives the Mighty Goats the first pick ban. Now, Infernal Shrines being one of those maps where you do have a lot of team fighting, you also want to focus on the clear of the shrine. Typically, we see a really strong 4-man and then a really good offlaner. So something like a Dahaka here. We typically see Nazeebo here and there, but things like Sonya as well, Greymane, typically Alarak is also a possibility on this map. There's a lot of people that we actually that you can see during this matchup, and especially the other thing that you want to consider as well is the shrine clear. So, you know, speaking to a couple of those solo laners, you want to also think, well, do they benefit in the shrine? So, like, Dahaka tends to be a priority here in this pick ban phase, mostly due to the fact that he has really good shrine clear, really good solo lane, and he has that global threat, which can just be a nuisance. We're actually going to see Garrosh, though, being banned out. They don't want to deal with the toss on the side of the goats. And that also still opens it up. They can play for that Dahaka. We've also seen things like Kerrigan on this map. She does have that quick clear, but I did see on those new patch notes, she did get a little bit of a nerf to her, I believe it was Ravage, and maybe her baseline damage itself. That one I'm not sure, but I know her Ravage did get a little bit of a nerf. But with that, I don't know how she'll play here. That's the only thing I'm unsure about. So, we're actually going to be having the Ariel first pick here. So they're going to go ahead and focus on getting that battery on the side of the goats. Okay, so Vala's been banned out, so you can still go into the Gul'dan. But they're going to go ahead on the side of Lizard Wizards and pick
A new
up.
subscriber has been acquired.
Oh, my head's in the way. But thank you so much.
I love you, BBY girl.
Thank you so much, Hedgie, for the subscription. Actually, technically, it's a resubscription. I will. I'll correct my asset there. But let me make sure that
Post connection detected.
Well,
Routing
thank you so
policy
much,
now.
Euroficio. Thank you for bringing over the new friends. Welcome to the stream. We're actually just getting into our first draft here. I can't thank you enough. Thank you, Euroficio, for bringing all over the friends, and thank you, Hedgie Hots, for the actual resubscription. But we're actually having Malthael being picked up here on the side of Mighty Goats. That's interesting. Okay, so they're going to go ahead and... The Malthael is alright. I don't know how I feel about him with the Ariel. I think he would have wanted to maybe prioritize something like that Gul'dan, because he might actually fill up her bar a little bit more. Now, there are those patches that... those notes that did come through... And the only thing I'm unsure about is actually how Ariel, how she actually gets charged up by people now. So, but we are actually seeing that Gul'dan being hovered as a ban because they did pick up that Ariel right away. So that's... Nope, we're actually going to see the Uther ban out. So maybe they would just go for the hyper carry on the Malthael. I mean, that's a possibility, so that's something that you want to... I don't know. I mean, because you could go into the hyper carry Malthael, I guess. That's just... It's odd to me. I've never seen it done before. Typically, you see that Uther Ariel Vala combination, but with Vala being banned out right away. On the side of the goats, though, limiting the healer pool wouldn't be a bad idea, but potentially the Dahaka's still a viable pick on the side of Lizard Wizards, so that might be something that you want to focus out. But I'm definitely thinking that something like a Rhaegar might be a priority at this point. The Chain Heals and the Ancestral could be really, really beneficial on these team fights on the shrines. And they're actually going to ban out Gul'dan themselves. So, alright, so that's... this is interesting. Huh. I like the Diablo. for the stun on the shrine fights. It's just, this is really interesting.
My
So they're going to go ahead and pick up the
blades are
Sonya on the
yours.
side of Lizard Wizards.
Vita, guide
With the
my path.
Kharazim. Okay. So typically you see, from what I've been learning, because I'm trying to learn a lot more about supports. It's like the one thing I know the least about. Stream quality with my cup in the way. And so I know, like, typically, from my understanding, a strong thing you can get with Kharazim is it would counter the Vala, because the block totem just mitigating so much of that just physical damage. But Malthael has damage over time, and it's not a direct counter, but no silly this week. Oh, here, Physio, what do you? No silly. I'm missing what you're abbreviating. I'm sorry. But these last two picks, I personally would like to see. Honestly, the Dahaka would be great here, and then. No, actually with the Kael'thas, okay. No, see, Hedgie, I wasn't thinking that. Now there's a delay on this, so I'm reading chat quite a bit late. But yeah, I didn't. I thought about it for a second, but I was like, I don't think we're gonna be seeing a Cho'Gall anytime soon. But this is interesting. So we've seen Tyrande on this map quite a bit. The Kharazim is gonna. I like the Kharazim. On the side of Lizard Wizard, their composition's really scary to me. You got the hook, which combos into the Tyrande, and then you have the Sonya for, if she can get the chain off Greymane with a dive the entire time. Kharazim's punching you. Ooh, that's just worrisome. But at the same time, this Kael'thas can be just sitting there and just putting a bunch of damage. And if they have to group up, and they kind of do if they're going to be diving, the chain bomb's going to be really powerful. But here we go into our first matchup here. On the left-hand side, we have Lizard Wizard with Vyzen on Stitches, Beckwin on Tyrande, Atkin on Kharazim, Juno 306 on Greymane, and Exo on Sonya. On the right-hand side, we have the Mighty Goats with Gofi on Ariel, Urzus on Malfurion, Womack on Diablo, Unknown on Malthael, and Fern on Kael'thas.
Prepare yourselves for battle, heroes.
All right, so with this first, let's just go ahead and just pull up the screen while some of these guys are loading in. We'll take a quick peek at some of these builds that are coming out. Now, Stitches looks like he's going to be going into that slam build. It's pretty much the standard thing we see out of him, especially with this double tank, double
The
healer.
battle begins in 10 seconds.
Cocktail build from the Greymane.
5, 4, 3, 2,
Okay.
1.
This is going to be an interesting matchup.
Let
And
the
all right, so
battle
Kael'thas is
begin.
going into Convection, so we will make sure to monitor those stacks. But here we go into this middle for the first matchup. Looks like they're going to play safe, get the bird out. It will at least get a little bit of vision onto some of these members, so they are showing that they're ready for this team fight. The hook does go out. They're urgently stun out from the Tyrande. They're back from Greymane, and they get Womack down to about 50 health. So they're going to want to put that Ariel, get that Ariel first of all, so that's real quick getting it back full. We do have the Malthael going up into the top lane against the Sonya, and that's actually, I think it's going to be decent. It's going to be a struggle for Sonya, I think, honestly. With Malthael being able to do percentile damage to higher health here, you can already see that her health is dropping, which is quite low when she's facing up against this Malthael. In the bottom lane, we are just going to have this 4-man rotation. Hook does go out onto the Diablo. They do get the dive. There is no follow-up stun from the Tyrande. They actually get it right as he goes to the gate for the heals there from the Ariel, and they actually back out of here. That zoning route was really, really good. And then just taking quick peek into this top lane, we are actually going to see the Sonya falling to the Malthael, trying to spin to win, but those dots are a little bit powerful. And also, just a side note, we already have our Kael'thas do that Ariel. She was just a couple pixels over. She would have gotten that hook. We are seeing, though, that our Kael'thas here is about a fourth of the way through his stacks. We're going to be going ahead and meeting up in this bottom lane. once again, we're going to have the Sonya timed well into the Malfield. We get back up just to get full on everything, especially because the shrines will be starting at about 145 plus the countdown. And that's one thing that to know on these maps. So first off, you saw how they drafted. They drafted a strong solo laner, then they built a 5-man with a previous rotations wave player, and also they built a 4-man who can do very good clearing on the shrines as well as these lanes. So they do get to step onto Diablo and super team. Flip does go out onto the Stitch there, just kind of steal a couple of members away. But the one thing that I want to note, so the first altar pops at about 140, that's the countdown, and then it starts at, I think, 2 minutes, I might be wrong. And then, once the Punisher dies, it's 145 after each go, so it's just one thing you can actually time out as you're kind of a little bit further and further. It's one thing to note, so you can predict and position yourself a little bit here. We are having the rest of the team coming into this fight at this point. We do have a backline stun on that Tail Frost. Diablo is taking a significant amount of damage. The Ariel's getting more healing out. We do have a hook from onto the Tail Frost. They do get the dive onto him. Immense amount of damage coming down to him. He will be falling here, losing all of his protection. A lot of the members of the Mighty Goats are falling low here. We are going to have an Malfurion dying as well. The Greymane does try and get out, and the Malfurion does get the kill on them. They start to back off, and it looks like this will be a 2-for-1 trade. But this shrine is probably going to be going over to Team Lizard Wizards. So with that, though, also the kill onto that Tail Frost, he loses the stacks, and he was, I think, at about 6 or 8, somewhere in that range. They are going to be going in on a couple of members here. I think they did notice that the Greymane was gone. They're trying to zone out the Stitches here. Sonya will be spinning on quite a few of the members. We do have the rest of the Mighty Goats being back into the team fight. Spearsing will be able to do that dash with Tyrande, making sure that she stays alive. But Malfio's actually going to dive right back onto her, and we're going to have a kill onto the Sonya and the Tyrande at the exact same moment. And I said that they had this altar, but it looks like the Mighty Goats are going to go ahead and take it over, and they will be taking the first Punisher into this mid lane. Now, these first Punishers, they're not too strong, so we're going to go ahead and actually see the Malfio rotating back up into the top lane. He's going to make sure that he gets that soak, push them close to 7, and they're probably going to get this gate here. If they get a potential kill, maybe they can go for the well on the fort, but typically right here we see it getting baited between these two towers. It's going to take the double shots, and then, it burns it down a little bit quicker than pulling it over to your well, because typically it will prioritize that, and then you're just kind of sacrificing your well. But then once again, we are going to have these rotations coming back out from the Mighty Goats, and it looks like they're actually... Okay, so the Greymane sees it, and they say, you know what, we're not going to go too deep for that attempted kill. Right. And they're actually going to go ahead, the Mighty Goats are going to go ahead and take this camp over here, and I didn't look at the clock. I was just saying to watch the clock when the Immortal dies, but we're probably about a minute out here from the next shrine being spawned. And typically, based on just, since it's in thirds, the middle was already popped, so you can go ahead and just kind of make a prediction that it's going to be either top or bottom, so pushing out one of those lanes could yield them an extremely beneficial Immortal. And at the same time, Lizard Wizards can do the exact same thing. They have 7s. They actually get this hook onto the Pablo. Fortunately, he doesn't go through the wall, and that would have definitely been a pick that probably would have gotten rid of the majority of his souls. Or all of his souls, because I would assume he's at 100 probably by now. It looks like, though, they're going to go ahead and rotate up and go ahead and push that top wave. Provide a little bit more pushing power for that Malfio. They do have a lot of these waves pushed in. It is a very safe way they can go about it, but well, I'm wondering if Greymane's been showing in this bottom, because that's the one thing. If they know that a few of the members were separated around, you could definitely maybe go in for a pick, and with the shrine popping up pretty soon. Yep. And that's actually really good. So they benefited on the Mighty Goats really well from getting that hard camp up in top, because the Sonya will have to stay there longer, or they'll have to sacrifice a decent amount in their top lane, because that unaddressed is going to do a significant amount of damage. So they're not going to get top, so it looks like we're going to have this 4v4 in bottom. Looks like there is a little bit of a retreat being called out. This is one, but they already put out their Tyrande stun, so that's not going to be available for a few more seconds. There is too much for Stitches to really get a good hook out of here. The actual stun wasn't against. They start to move a little bit further. Hook does go out, but it does not connect on the end of the background members. This Diablo is zoning really, really well, keeping them alive. Okay, they're gonna go ahead and push their way back in on the side of Blizzard Wizard. Diablo does charge out Nick. They're gonna start to focus him down a little bit. He is being able to throw in those turn strikes every so often, and Sonya is actually gonna be dying in top lane. Sorry, but I missed that completely. That's gonna be a pretty decent push going there now, but this lane, we have the Malfurion falling to about 60 health. Diablo, though, will die, and he doesn't have souls, so they're gonna go ahead and have him dead for the next 20 seconds. And this is going to be the next Punisher going over to Wizards. So now they did get the kill onto that Sonya, which there was no siege camp to push up against that, so they actually had to have their Malfield rotate to the mid lane there to clear up that camp as well. So unfortunately, they're going to actually get quite a bit here. Seeing as how they already burned down the gate, the Punisher is onto the support, and the rest of the members of this 4-man from Blizzard Wizards are pushing down here as well. Punisher does get another jump over, but they're not going to go out too far. Stitches his position before on the hook, and at the last second it does go up, but doesn't connect on the end of the members. We'll go ahead and disengage from this, and that will be a pretty decent push on the side of Blizzard Wizards. Puts them a little bit ahead in experience, probably about half a level. But we are going to have the Malthael rotating into the, into the bottom as well at this point. Hoping to maybe get a little bit of a pick, but the rest of the team will be rotating away. In this mid lane, though, we are having this being pushed back up, and they're going to try and keep this experience gap just, about a half level lead. But we do have the Tyrande, who is just getting into this back line. She will be able to get away, and that was just so risky. And I believe she did take the... I'm forgetting the name, I apologize. Shadowstalk. It's like the moment you see it, you're like, yeah, of course, well, how can I forget that it's Shadowstalk? But this is definitely, at this point, it's a very passive point in the game where it looks like a lot of the teams are just rotating. They're working towards their 13s. They don't want to lose out too much on experience or get picked off here. They're baiting out a little bit with that Tyrande. The Stitches in the bushes, preparing for that hook. It looks like they won't be able to get anything from that. The rest of the team, actually, Mighty Goats actually rotate into their top lane. And I'm thinking that they're actually assuming that the next Punisher will be top, so they're, placing their entire team up in that top lane, saying, alright, it should be spawning quite soon. Nope, actually, they're going to rotate back down. Okay. I was thinking that they were making the prediction because the last one wasn't bottom and the first one wasn't mid. And there is a percentile that it doesn't have to be top, but, it typically won't be the same play. So that's one of the things that I was thinking, well, maybe they rotated up there just making an assumption. Or it was just, they thought they might get a touchdown somewhere. Either way, it looks like they're going to be coming in for this really aggressive flank. The Sonya is caught out. They do dive right onto her. They get the rip into the wall, and it looks like they're really getting that kick onto the Sonya. And that's going to close up that experience gap just a little bit, actually. We do have a regen from the Tyrande. Looks like it's momentary. At this point, with the Sonya dead, they're going to have to back off of this altar. Now, they can work towards their 13s. It's not going to be the strongest boost in the game, but at the same time, it's still a counter advantage, it's a level advantage. The Crystal Lord actually goes right out onto the Diablo, who will just get sealed up over time. Unfortunately, I mean, it's down for another 20 seconds, but it's down for another 20 seconds. Down in this case right here, but we do have the Apocalypse coming on here. Quite a few of the members are being zoned away. The Phoenix does go out for another little bit of zoning here, and this looks like this will be the Mighty Goats taking another altar. So this will be a Arcane Punisher, which is probably the most feared out of all of them. And since this mid was already pushed down, this is going to be a really good push for the Mighty Goats. They've Stitches against the wall. First of all, they go out and they get the kill onto the Stitches, but there's actually the silence from Malfurion. Malthael going in with the Tormented Souls, getting so much damage out. Greymane actually falling here. Malthael still diving in, trying to get onto that Kharazim. They will actually get the Sonya, and that's going to be a 50% Punisher, working towards a keep at this point. They actually, the jump goes over for the Punisher, and Malthael goes in, trying to just get the first game of death onto that Tyrande. They get the sidewall, he will be able to get out here. They're trying to push up a little bit. They're gonna go ahead and disengage. 13s are on both sides. They don't have the little bit of advantage that they were getting from that power spike there, especially with the Punisher dying as well. But at this point, we're once again going to see a little bit of passive play coming out of both teams. Okay, I was curious if maybe Lizard Wizards was maybe going to go in for this camp, but the Tyrande did just use her Shadow Stuff, so she is kind of scouting this out a little bit here. But it looks like we are going to have a small flash going into the bottom out. Don't think connected on anyone, but the seems to back off. The Apocalypse does come out, connect on to the Sonya, who's going extremely low. The Diablo will automatically fall, but he has the souls to come right back, so he's already being spawned, coming right back into the fight. Piercing dash, but the whip back saves the Malfurion from Kharazim, and that is going to be just a kill on the side of Lizard Wizard, so they get rid of those souls, which is really, really powerful for them, because now Diablo has to play a little bit safer until he can get those stacks back up to 100. It looks like they're going to go ahead on the side of the Mighty Goats. They're going to get this Siege Camp, try and time that out with the next Punisher, let that push up that top wave as well. This is going to be something we need to address quite soon. And as well, their bottom lane could become a problem. And the mid is starting to get pushed in quite well. And bottom is once again picked up. I don't think we've had a top Punisher yet, because it's been mid-bottom, mid-bottom. That's actually really interesting. So they're going to go ahead and get their camp on the side of Lizard Wizards. They're going to have to just go right against the other Siege camp. At the same time, though, it buys a little bit of time for the Mighty Goats to go ahead and clear up these waves. They're going to go ahead and actually focus on the bottom and then maybe work through the mid. At the same time, though, they want to play a little bit safe. They want to make sure that they're not going to be friends. If they lose a fight here, they lose a couple members, that will snowball a little bit into a 16, and Lizard Wizard could take over the shrine at that point. But on the same note, Lizard Wizards needs to play safe, because the Mighty Goats, they can get 16s as well, and they can take the fight themselves. First of all, and the Apocalypse out, which is huge. Malthea does get a ton of control out onto the Stitches, who is being zoned away from the majority of the team. The Aria will try and get the whip just to distance him a little bit further. This is 30 on the side of Lizard Wizard. We feel the Aegis coming out at the last second. We have the Sonya dying actually here. And with 33, they actually have to back off a little bit. They're trying to get some of the poke damage out to get to this last 7. But just the Mighty Goats are zoning this extremely well. Diablo is just for 1 second just going out like, ooh. Tyrande, I just want to grab you and flip you back into the enemy team. They do get the stun out, which takes down the Diablo health just a little bit, but they already have the rest of the team healed right back up. And this is going to be 16s just about achieved on the side of the Mighty Goats. They're going to be pushing up into this fort, so Lizard Wizards need to play a little bit safe because of the fact that they don't have that talent tier and that level advantage. So they're going to go ahead and just sacrifice this fort in the bottom, and actually that top camp it's pushing in a fort right now. I didn't see how it got cleared out, but someone must have gone back and cleared out the opposing camp. Because it almost killed the fort and actually drew the Sonya up in the top. The bait goes over the wall. The Malthea does as well. He's actually behind the wall, but it looks like they're going to go ahead and pull this Punisher between these two towers. Make sure that they burn him down first, but there is actually the charge onto the Stitches from the Diablo. Crystal does go out, and a few of the members are separated here. The stun does go out, they get the dive. Crystal Aegis at the last second. The Diablo is just about to fall, but it looks like they will be able to get all their men out safely, and women, excuse me. But that is going to be a clean disengage on the side of the Mighty Goats. So at this point, so it looks like we're going to have the Sonya clearing up some of these waves, rotating around, just making sure that they get pushed up, they get that experience. They don't want to be losing out too much here and cause too much of a difference in the levels. And it's been pretty back and forth this game. They've been staying about a level difference between the two teams. Whenever there's an advantage, it's just about a level, which has been just phenomenal play from both teams. But it looks like we're going to have an invade into this bottom camp. Diablo, they're actually going to see it. Diablo in the bush. They're going to go ahead and back off. So you know what? That's a flip and a charge that I do not want to deal with. So they're going to go ahead and let that camp go over. And at this point, Mighty Goats, they're just being extremely aggressive with their positioning on the map. It's good timing that they didn't get that stun out, and They do show in bottom at this point. They're just trying to push up their wave, but it looks like they're trying to take a fight, and at the same time, Lizard Wizards just don't want to have them do that. But at this point, they baited the coats out quite close to the keep, so they're actually going to get a hook on the Ariel. But the Aegis does come out, and they actually have that down for the next 60 seconds. Diablo does charge in quite deep. The Apocalypse does come out. This is a significant amount of ultimates just kind of being baited out on the side of Lizard Wizards, and this is extremely smart by them because they pulled them near their keep. They had a really good range to an area to retreat to, and they had the Apocalypse come out, the Phoenix came out, the Aegis came out. And so Aegis might be ready, midway through this altar. At this point, that was it was a powerful play on the side of Lizard Wizards. Mighty Goats will go ahead, and it looks like they're going to get this camp in the top right. And one thing I was just curious, did we just have middle twice? No, it was bottom the last time. The hook actually does go out onto the mouth of the Crystal. The KT. The Crystal does go out and is just so low. We actually see the Kerosene falling here as well as the Stitches. And this is the Mighty Goats going ahead and saying, you better back off our altar. You can get 3, but at this point you're going to have to play the passive. Ooh. One thing I also want to note at this point, the Delphos is only 4 stacks into his frame tricks, or convection stacks. So one thing to note in this match is that, especially on this map here, you gotta play really safe as that KT in the beginning because I believe he got picked up a couple times, and that is what just kind of kept resetting him just a little bit too far. But they do get this Arcane Punisher pushing into this mid lane. They do not have a gate at this point, so this is going to be potentially a death march. I mean, they're going to be pretty close to 20 once this keep starts to fall. Looks like the team, okay. I was like, where are you guys going? They're going to go ahead and forego clearing out that top camp. They're going to go ahead and say, if we get a pick here, we can end the game. So if the top camp wants to push, we can give up that fort. But we do get the jump onto the Punisher. They bait it over to the core, which was just doing easy damage. And it won't be doing any damage to the core because the fact that it doesn't have the keep down yet. The Apocalypse does come back out. We do have the Kerosene to send out quite a bit here. That is the first keep falling in the game. They're going to be going out onto a couple of these members. They get the stun to a few of them, actually. This Punisher being at 19%, I don't think they'll be able to end unless they really get that critical pick. They actually get the hook onto the Diablo, who will be taking a significant amount of damage, but be able to back off, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and retreat at this point. They're going to work towards their 20s. They're the demount from the Tyrande. Every time. She gets the... I've just been watching it every single time, and they always get the Diablo. It's like a homing missile on him. Alright. Thank you, Hedgehog. So at this point, we are going to have an aggressive camp play on the side of Lizard Wizards. Without their 20s, and a few of the members kind of distracted in that top lane, they went ahead and did that. Got that camp. That hook could have just been devastating onto that Diablo. That was just that kind of that blind. But they're going to go ahead and at this point, they're going to play the safe game. They did that a really aggressive camp, and they're actually being chased quite a bit because they do have 20s now. We do have the Sony actually being cut out. I wouldn't be too surprised to see it falling at this point. The Berserker is popped. The roots don't connect. She is trying to spin. The friendly hook does not connect, and she will fall. And that is going to be a pretty powerful play for the Mighty Goats. Now, there isn't a Punisher starting in this game, but it just gives them a little bit more map control. They can easily rotate around this map, pick up this camp, push in their mid a little bit more, and just kind of really focus those catapults up against that core and create this mid lane pressure. And it looks like they're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing in bottom. Just play this. They're playing a little bit passive here. They could potentially push onto that bottom lane a little bit harder. Maybe they'll just do that with this camp, actually. And this is so we're finally, I think, going to have our first top lane Punisher of the game. I believe we have gates for both teams. Yes. At this point, though, we do have the Stitches going out of the rest of the team. They are going to aggress on this quite hard. They actually do get the flip on. So much damage. Malthael will be getting the moment souls under his feet. He's back to these squishier members. We will be having the stuff going on for Diablo, and they're just going to go ahead and push up this mid lane. They're just creating so much pressure at this point that Lizard Wizards are going to have to, respond to these lanes, and it kind of just gives the Mighty Goats free reign to go ahead and position, prioritize the lane, push it up, and get this Frozen Punisher, which could potentially be game-ending for either team, though. I mean, 20s aren't on the side of Lizard Wizards, so they have to play passive until they can get that. Once they do, these team fights could, swing the game 100%. We do have a Sonya in the bottom lane with the Grayman, trying to double soak that up a little bit more. It looks like they're going to go ahead and probably they'll go ahead and finish that up in the mid lane. Because the team should meet up together in this top. Oh, nice. Wrong second. My apologies. Looks like they're going to go ahead and get this camp. Oh, okay. So they're going to go ahead and get this camp. I was wondering if they were. No?
Red team has summoned
So that is going to be a Frozen Punisher going over to the Mighty Goats. Looks like they're going to go ahead and be pushing up into this top lane. Now, as I was saying, this keep does have its gate still, so they can bait the Punisher over the wall, burn it down between these two towers, and as well as pull it over to the... Well, they have no mid... Oops. They have no mid keep to pull it over to, but at least the core will, they separate a little bit of jump over the wall. But they burn out the sidewall really quickly. So the Apocalypse comes out. They actually stun under quite a few members, and Malthael going into the moment to doing so much damage out. Future Bile is used by the Stitches, but we are going to be having Sonya and the Greymane falling here. We have the Diablo falling. Okay, so we will be able to out live, but that is going to be, 80 seconds till they have their Sonya and their Greymane. This is a 60% Punisher. This is going to do a significant amount of damage to their core. It looks like we are going to be having core falling on the side of Lizard Wizards. The first game going over to the Mighty Goats. GG, well played. And welcome back. We're going to hang out here while we set up the next lobby. Thank you, by the way, to everyone who came by to watch the game. Thank you once again to Hero Fizio for bringing over all of your viewers. Thank you. That was amazing of you. And also, thank you to Hedgie for the resub. Other than that, I am Bahamut, your caster. You can also, hit that follow button. That would mean a lot to me. But at this point, we're kind of in between games. I have an asset that I'm working with my artist with that should be coming through quite soon. We'll be able to have like a little screen tear above my head, and we'll be able to talk about some of these talent picks and some of these stats. But at this time, you're just going to have to kind of listen to me, unfortunately. They are currently deciding on the map, and let me actually update my asset as well. So it reads that the Mighty Goats have won the first game, and once we select the map, we will be able to update that as well. So Sonya doing just out of this world experience, just 11,000 experience, but the Malthael just topping it with 17,000. That Malthael pick, I was a little disheartening about it, but at the same time, it was a really, really strong pick by them, and the composition of the Mighty Goats was really great. I like the Diablo was a really, really important asset of that team. The ability for him just to come back right away. He only died twice in that game, and there was one time he died without any souls, but he did have souls in one fight, and he actually came right back, and they turned the entire fight around. So those Diablo plays were just were quality, and especially the Apocalypse. They caught so many people out so many times with that Apocalypse, and it was comboed so well together, especially with the roots and then the damage that was just thrown out from the Malthael, and you have KT in the backline just putting out those flame strikes and just the chain bomb. So overall, I mean, the Mighty Goats they put together this really, really strong team that just jives so well. But not to say anything against the Lizard Wizards. I mean, they had this really, really strong composition, but unfortunately they couldn't get those key hooks that they needed to kind of pick apart the Mighty Goats, and because they couldn't do that, I mean, it fell apart as the game went on. All right, so it looks like we are talking about Brax's holdout currently. So let me go ahead and update all the information here. So that is updated. So we'll go ahead and hit start round 2. We are loading into the lobby. And so, by the way, thank you once again to everyone who's watching. Just and everyone in Twitch chat, thank you. Thank you, I appreciate it. Double checking that everything is all set up for this. Okay, cool. Oh, here, Fusio, you missed a core rush, unfortunately. Well, it wasn't a core rush. That's not right at all. It was they got a top lane Punisher, and they just kind of snowballed a team fight with a really good Apocalypse, and then that Malthael went in and just deleted so many of the members, and they also lost a key Sonya and Greymane early in that team fight, and because of that, it just at that point when you lose the Sonya and the Greymane. Not to say just like, oh, it's GG. I mean, you can still kind of bring it back. I mean, if there are bad plays made, but, they went ahead, they focused the core, and they ended up winning the game. Oh, thank you so much, Fried Wonton. All right, so we're going to go right into it. There we go. So we are going right into the draft. So just to update our viewers, the first game went over to the Mighty Goats, which are on our right-hand side. We were on Infernal Shrines. So this is going to be game number 2, going into Brax's holdout. So Lizard Wizards are on our left with the first pick, first ban. Brax's holdout being a 2-lane map, there's a lot of priority on team fighting, as well as just like what we saw on Infernal Shrines. Typically we see a 1-4, we see a strong top laner, and then we also have a 4-man in bottom. So just like I said in the last map, I mean, it's not a huge map, but I still think a Dahaka here is quite powerful, mostly because of the fact that it's just the threat that he can present in a team fight where, if it is a 3-man somehow, you have someone rotating in late or something, the flank you can get from him is just so powerful. But we're actually going to see a first pick Garrosh by Lizard Wizards. And I think, no, I don't, this is my second Garrosh game, and I'm slowly learning all the talents, so I apologize on my lack of knowledge for him and his exact playstyle. I'm still trying to, learn him myself. I'm a little bit behind, but I'm focusing on casting right now. A lot of chair league. But at this point, we do have these first 2 picks on the side of the Mighty Goats. We're going to have that Dahaka, as I was mentioning before. And then I honestly I'd like to see a priority on a healer. Like an Uther would not be bad here at all. The Ariel being banned out, it's a strong healer because of the fact that she has no mana bar. She doesn't need to go back and tap well, and if you find a good battery with that is extremely powerful. And also, Cho'Gall on this map is a viable threat and pick. So just taking out that Ariel is a good idea.
Victory above all.
Stukov. Okay. It's the one hero that I see on this map all the time, and I never think to actually have him, as a pick, because the zoning that he provides in these fights is it's phenomenal, especially with the empowering at level 1 with the Lurking Arm expansion, Overgrowth. I don't know the actual name. I apologize. But it's just a really good zoning tool, because if you want to charge the beacon, you have to stand on it to capture it. But if he's sitting there and you silenced, you can just get dove upon. So it's a strong pickup here. I really like these first 2 picks. Now, at the same time, Lizard Wizard, they've got this Garrosh. They've got, they can throw a backline unit into the front line. So that's a threat they need to consider on the side of the Mighty Goats. But this Vala Zarya, I really like this. Vala being a really good shielding target. And I'm curious, actually, if they could just go into a Tassadar with that. That'd be we'll talk about that later. But right now, ban phase. Looks like we are. So for Mighty Goats banning out here, if I was looking at this, I'd say you don't have a healer. We should prioritize a healer at this point. And I personally think the Tassadar. See, the thing is, like, I believe he got a little bit of a change, but I think a Tassadar ban wouldn't be bad here. Okay. And the other reason that I like Tassadar being banned out is because the Force Wall, it can be an extremely difficult thing to deal with. and just that hyper carry like you could actually technically like I think you could pick up like a Tassadar into a Leoric, because the Entomb with the Expulsion Zone as well as the Force Wall could just be something devastating. And you know you'd have to play a little bit safe, but I think that Zarya shielding would be really powerful. And we're actually gonna have Ragnaros banned out here on the side of Lizard Wizards. That's interesting, because typically you'd see someone like, I would have prioritized maybe they're going for it themselves, but I would have think that like a Gul'dan might be a priority in this situation, or a Kael'thas, mostly because the wave clear is really powerful. The Kael'thas in the last game was actually, you know, something that I wouldn't really want to go up against again, especially in a team fighting situation where, you know, he did die, you know, they did get a couple kills on him, but at the same time, I mean, it was still an aspect of the team fight that was really powerful. So I don't know how I feel about the Ragnaros ban, but maybe they've scrimmed or they've played against each other, so they know that that's maybe a pick that the goats take on this map. But I'm interested. I personally think that, so they've got a strong top laner. They're going to go into the Varian.
Great destiny.
What would work with this is maybe a range like Inari. Actually, excuse me, Greymane hasn't been picked up or banned, so that's not a bad idea, actually. Especially with the Zarya Garrosh. The Curse Bullet's way better. But they can still actually, the Lunara actually, in my opinion, would be still interesting. The vision that she would provide, the poison that she would also give, and then just the base speed that she has is pretty good as well. We're actually going to have the Uther being picked up here. Kitty Cat Uther. And if you didn't know this, look at his chest. The two lights, those are his eyes, and the X is the nose. Kitty Cat Uther. With this last pick here, I think they'd solo with this.
Finally.
Okay. Alright. That's interesting. I like that. So they're going to probably solo with the Alarak. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so you'd run the Zarya, Vala, Garrosh, Uther together. That makes more sense. I was thinking, like, for some reason, I was like, well, they could run the Zarya, but I was like, then that just mitigates the whole composition. No, I really like that. The Alarak pickup's really strong, and he is a good solo laner. I find him very strong on this map, and the displacement that he has will be very powerful here. Now, on the side of the Mighty Goats, this last pickup, so you got a Dahaka, you got your solo laner, you got Stukov for healing and zoning, Varian for the taunt, Greymane for the dive. How do you enable this composition a little bit better? You could technically, in my opinion, maybe go into the Malfurion. The roots would be pretty powerful, I think. I'm trying to think. Honestly, I think the Lunara is kind of strong here. But we also see things like Falstad, Illidan, so that's why I'm very unsure. We're actually going to see Jaina. Huh. Now, I don't think Jaina hasn't received any changes yet. She doesn't change till the Kel'Thuzad patch in early September. I'm not against it, it's just I feel like there might have been stronger mages for this map. That's my only thing. Now, the slows, yes, they're really powerful, and I think that does enable the Dahaka as well as the Stukov. And it pairs well into the Varian, so it just enables the Greymane to dive a little bit harder because they are slowed when running away. But here we go into our second matchup here. On the left-hand side, we have Lizard Wizards with Vyzin on Garrosh, Bekwin on Alarak, Adin on Uther, Jono 306 on Vala, Axo on Zarya. And on the right-hand side, we have the Mighty Goats with Gofi on Stukov, Urzus on Jaina, Fern on Dahaka, Womack on Varian, and Unknown on Greymane. Alrighty, so here we go. This match.
Facility
Quick peek at
powering
some of these
up.
first level talents. While I just sit here and try and chug water. Alright, so we do actually have the spear build coming out from the Vala. We do have that Growing Infestation is the name of the talent. We do have that coming out from the
Systems
Stukov.
online in 10 seconds.
We have the NASCAR Dahaka.
5, 4,
We have the
3,
cocktail build from the
2,
Greymane.
1.
Alarak's actually going to be going into the
Facility
sustaining
online.
power. Garish will be going into the Warbreaker. So at this point, we have the Stukov going. Excuse me, completely just like dyslexia of the map. We have the Alarak going up against the Dahaka in top. I don't know how I did that. When in this bottom lane, we do have that 4-man as we were talking about, and it looks like these members are just positioning up, waiting for the minion wave just to kind of come in, and they're gonna fight inside of that. They're not gonna try and take unnecessary damage or even fights. One thing that I will commend both teams, they have a lot of, since there are a lot of like bush picks that we do, they have a lot of utility on the teams just to kind of check bush having to face check it. But we do have the toss the silence from the Stukov zone to few of the members away from that variant, so that was extremely powerful. But they are going to go ahead, rotate down here and make sure that they get the bottom lane. In top lane, we do have the dive from the Greymane and the Dahaka, but unfortunately they didn't get the kill. And with that, they do see that there are 2 members in top lane that have to push the bottom extremely hard. Looks like they're able to get a decent amount of damage on these towers. A couple shots out, but nothing too major. We do have the Greymane actually kind of circling back up into top lane. So we'll just go ahead and take a peek at this, because at bottom it doesn't... They're playing really safe by the gate, and they're kind of showing a little bit that their Greymane is still missing, because I think they might be a little bit more aggressive with him. So they're, yep, it's exactly. So they're playing the gate. Looks like Wizard kind of knows about this, so they're going to go ahead and push up the wave a little bit here. We're going to have a Hearth out from the Jaina, trying just to get a little bit of their mana bar back up before they go into this altar phase. Now in top, it looks like we're going to have... They're still trying to dive onto the Alarak. Looks like they will be able to go out onto it, but unfortunately I don't think they're going to be getting the kill here. This Alarak is trying to keep them so much. They do get the... Okay, so that is going to be the first kill going with the Mighty Goats. They chase the Alarak around the top. But unfortunately, so I mean... The Zerg wave isn't going to be pushing to the bottom, so they don't technically need to worry about it per se, but at the same time, you know, the next one it will be in the bottom, so they're going to have to worry about it that time. So it's just one of those things that I don't know if the chase might have been worth it. They've been using this Greymane. Okay, so he's using... Sorry. I for some reason thought he was just waiting in a bush for the Alarak to come back, and I was like, no man, just go bottom. Like, take this fight. You guys definitely can win this over. The slows and the dive that they have in this game currently with the silence, I think that they definitely can take a team fight pretty easily. Looks like Greymane will be going onto that hard move. They're just playing this extremely fast right now. They're going to get the flip onto the Varian. He will be able to protect himself twice, actually. Take just minimal damage and just walk around that wall without a problem. Stukov will be going over to Greymane to give him just a little bit of help. It looks like at this point the Alarak is playing a little bit safe, closer to the gate, looking at the mini-map here. It looks like it's still going to get picked up by that Greymane instead, but they are starting to chase the numbers. The Greymane does dive in onto the Geralt. Actually, does get the pull, does look for the flip, but unfortunately it's not actually hit. They go onto this Varian here. The ulti is getting close to being able to charge instead of the Goats, and it looks like it will start to charge percent for them. A couple of numbers are a little bit low here. Stukov is passing out a little bit of healing. Loki has his speed, but there is silence from him. That is actually going to be a kill on the Greymane, but this could be a counter kill onto the Zarya. They're going to get the kill on the Varian. So this bottom is going to be going over to Lizard Wizard and as well as top. Looks like the Dahaka will have to Hearth back. He probably has his Brush Stalker, so look to see him maybe coming through one of these aggressive bushes. I wouldn't be too surprised if he could come up right next to him, but the silence goes out. This 1v1, unfortunately, no one ends up dying. But this target will be going back over to Lizard Wizard. Momentary stop because they got that bottom ulti for a few seconds. Now that we do have Zarya back in play, this will be a little bit more of an aggressive push because there are 2 members in top lane still playing the Varian. They do get the flip onto the Stukov. The way that the Varian does dive in, getting a bit of damage, kind of throwing a few of these members away from the Stukov, slowing the Zarya down. There is a couple ice picks going out from the Jaina train just to get a little bit of that piercing damage on the looks like Brandon will be getting that top lane push out a little bit more with that camp of aiding Dahaka's lane pushing. So with 7s for both teams, it looks like we're going to go ahead and start to get a little bit more aggressive on the side of the Eagles. With bottom lane, they're not giving it up per se. They're letting it, be opened up here, and at the same time, they're just dedicating a lot into this top lane push. Now there is a significant amount being worn away, and this first Zerg wave, the next Zerg wave will be pushing up there, but at this point, it's just a lot of dedication for. I feel like they could be winning a little bit easier if they just got their Brandon to the bottom lane. Flip just go out on that Brandon and actually stunned by the Uber as well. He will have to back off. The Varian is starting to chase down this Vala. They do go back in, but the Varian overextending a little bit, getting killed. And that is going to be the bottom going over. And it looks like the top lane. Okay. Whew. I was going to say that Dahaka was about to get that kill, and he was really about to start pushing into that top. But at the same time, they actually do get the flip onto the Stu Top. Trying to get the slow from the Jaina. They are fighting the Wizard, but they actually get staggered the death and they get the kill onto the Stu Tops. This is going to be an even stronger push at this point for Lizard Wizard. Mighty Ghosts are going to have to play really safe here. They're definitely going to be losing their well. They actually dedicate the Uther to the Alarak at this point for the top lane. Go ahead and get that beacon charged over, and it looks like they're using Essence. Alarak will be falling here. The Green is so low, he will get the disengage. Uther chasing, but the Dahaka is hot on his tail. Looks like he will get the drag. And if he just autos a couple more times, okay. He will have to back off because that Zerg wave is going to be pretty menacing in top lane. Remain, be careful. Okay, phew. I was afraid the Banelings were about to explode on him, and that would have been a little worrisome. Now in this bottom lane, we do just have this being cleared out quite quickly by Wizard, and they're just going to try and protect their fort as they aggress a little bit on it. Now, in top lane, we do have the Greyman and the Varian cleaning this up as quickly as they can, so that way they have to back off. But it looks like this is going to be a free fort. Now they do get the tongue onto the Garrosh, but unfortunately, since the minions are there, they require these little heroes. That'll be the fort falling here, and that is going to be pretty powerful for the next Zerg push that this Wizard could potentially get. This will be quite menacing. But at this point, we do have picked up by the Great Name Varian combo. It looks like, let's take a quick peek at some of these 10 talents. We do have the Decimate from Garrosh, Counter-Strike, from the Alarak, D-Shield from the Uther, straight from the Vala, and actually straight from the Vala, which is like, I would have thought you would have gone for the stun, but I kind of like straight for the stun, that little bit of burst because of those backline maybe weaker talents that might be kind of running away with some low health. But I just think the stun is extremely powerful in this situation. And then, of course, the expulsion zone. And then on the side of the Mighty Goats, we have the massive shove, the ring up across, first of all, the Discord actually going out with the animation. Oh my god. So many of the ability being coming out right now, but we are going to be having the Jaina falling right away. Zoning from the Snoop at this point with the silence. Looks like they're going to try. They actually get their kill onto the Alarak as well. But just that explosion, I was just like, it's every ability at once, I think. Except for the massive shove. A couple of the other ones. I think adaptation wasn't used either. Now they are pushing into this top lane quite hard. The damage is not there, so they don't have that range clear. They do have the Stukov lurking arm, which will be able to kind of zone them away and get a little bit of a slow clear and buy time for the team to come in. We do have Alarak back at this point, and he will be rotating in. It looks like they're going to go ahead and try and take a few. Varian does go going out. They actually get the kill onto the Garrosh. At this point, that is going to be one kill, but at the same time, we do see the Dahaka getting a kill onto the Vala, but there is a kill onto the very so. Diving from the Grey Mane, they are getting a significant amount of damage onto the Zarya. They actually get the kill onto her, and Alarak at this point getting tongued and actually shoved into the wall. The telekinesis missing. There are going to be chasing quite a few of these members. They are falling super low. The counter-strike is there. They get the kill onto the Grey Mane. They're turning this around. Now the Jaina gets the Ring of Frost only onto one member. She will fall as well. The Alarak is... Oh my god. The Uther is also... He does have Ghost Healing, so the Alarak can go into the still quite deep. There is the stasis from the Dahaka. This is crazy. They throw the Alarak into the enemy team, and that will be the Dahaka getting away. And what a crazy chase that was. He will be hearthing away in this bush. Oh my god. The Alarak, I mean, that's just like the one thing that's just terrifying to me is Alarak. Like, wow, what a phenomenal play. But at this point, we will have the beacons being charged up just a little bit on the side. Lizard Wizards, the top row brings it out. They actually do get the telekinesis. The taunt is there. The Dahaka is coming around. Does he get the taunt? And they do actually get the kill on the Alaraks. That will be the top lane being controlled. At this point, that is definitely the lane that they want to prioritize on the side of the Mighty Goats, because that is where their Zerg wave will be pushing up next. Now, in bottom, they have that camp that they do need to respond to quite soon. And 13s are on the side of Blizzard Wizards. They have to play a little bit safe here. Don't scout out this bush just yet. They go, okay, the Garrus scout, but they don't have to follow through the taunt. There it is, the first focus of the Master Zephyr is not connected. Throws the Haka into the back, the adaptation does get the burrow, so that will be proc just in time. They actually get the tongue onto the Zarya. He pulls it back into the team. They actually have the zoning from the lurking arm, and that will be the kill onto the Zarya, and that's extremely powerful. Now, I will still want to note that there is this bottom camp that they do need to respond to. These towers are about to lose their handsets that could potentially be a threat quite soon. Looks like the Jaina will be going back to take care of that. Dahaka did burrow bottom, and they will be going ahead and capitalizing on the point now. Because the member had to go back, and they are showing, well, they will be showing in bottom lane. They definitely know that they have this top, and then Mighty Goats know that as well, so they back right off of that, making sure that they don't stagger any deaths here, or give any sort of damage. Now the Variant does face check this bush, and that is going to be the entire team collapsing upon him. The silence is there. Oh my god, the telekinesis is with a massive shove. Does not connect. The pullback is there. They actually throw him to the other side, and he will be falling here, unfortunately. So it's going to be 30 seconds without their Variant. They go ahead, and they take this camp from the Mighty Goats. Now, the Zarya will sneak onto that bottom point, so it will be starting to get a little bit more of a... Oh. Okay, so she does see that there are a couple of members clearing out this in the top. The Haka isn't on the map just yet, but he will be showing in the bottom. But they go ahead and they see him down there. They get the kill on the stoop off the massive shove, not getting the value that they were hoping for. Or no. It's a 30-second cooldown. It's 20 seconds. Oh, no, it did go. I thought I heard it in my headphones, but I wasn't sure if it was. But they're going to go ahead and actually push up this top lane. And so this is just really, really good map control and really good team fighting on the side of Blizzard Wizards. Now, they did wipe, but this Alarak, I think, has just honestly been very, very strong. And it's been a menacing force. This is 100% Zerg wave, and it looks like the team is rotating into this bottom lane, trying to actually snowball this and really potentially take this game for themselves. This is a 100% Zerg wave. They're going to go ahead and just say whatever to our fort and top. You should be able to clear that out without a problem. Fire being just going to need taking down some of these towers before the big ones. You don't want to waste your team lanes on just these towers. You get them onto a heat that just does so much damage. Looks like they will be going, and we're going to go ahead and play down the stats from there. We have this elite one. We have Varian going, using his protector. First blood does go out. He does not get a pullback from his view, I believe. It looks like this will be a lead. They're going to go ahead and back off here. Now there are 16s on the side of Blizzard Wizards. They actually get this ring across and go through the members. We actually have the Alarak killing into the Haka. The minions rush to get the Jaina. We do have this chase onto the Grey Mane. Oh, and this looks like with the Guardians, they could potentially end the game here. The Seacock is still alive. It looks like they're going to go ahead and start to march onto this core now with the Zarya and the It looks like we are going to be going into a game number 3 before falling against the Mighty Goats. Blizzard Wizards gets a massive shove. But at this point, the 7 seconds till the next year. This is what I'm going to be game going over to Blizzard Wizards. GG, well played. right, and so while we are hanging out, oops, my cup, take a quick peek at some of these stats, as well as, once again, thank you to everyone who's in the lobby watching. Thank you, once again, to Hero Physio for bringing over just all those people with the host, as well as Hedgie Hots for the resub. And if you are enjoying the stream, please hit the follow button. This week was a little chaotic. I had some family come into town, so I didn't cast Tuesday. And I didn't have a match earlier today. But next week we'll be back onto the regular schedule where we'll be doing 2 matches Tuesday, 2 matches Thursday. And actually I will be casting 2 this Saturday for the Gamers of the Storm Competitive League. It'll be, I believe it's one of our teams is just kind of entered in. We had a drop, and then these guys swooped in and said, you know what, we'll play up some games. We'll get, match up our points. We'll go ahead and get the league still going. So definitely something you should swing by and check out on Saturday. I think it's going to be 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then the following match will be right after that, but it's about 6:37. And 3 matches typically go about an hour and a half to 2 hours. But it looks like, let me just make sure that I update the asset. It looks like they went ahead and already did it. I don't have to worry about anything. These guys got everything set up for me. Yep, Battlefield, so all I have to do is that. And alrighty. So, while we just get this lobby finished up, let me just double check that everything's set up correctly. Cool. So, oh, I'm a tad quiet. I apologize. I'm fiddling with a bunch of different audio settings currently, and I'm trying to just get it mastered ever so perfectly. So what I'll go ahead and do is I'll just turn down my game volume just a hair, because it sounds like maybe that's all I need. So we'll go ahead and just turn it down a little bit. Thank you so much for the little bit of advice. If you are enjoying the stream and you do want to see the other fun commands we have, you can go ahead and hit !commands. Let me check Windows, because sometimes Windows decides to change your volume settings for your microphones. Yep, it was turned down. Not by a whole lot, but it still was turned down. I apologize for that. But yeah, I'll go ahead and also make sure I just check this VOD, see if any of the audio adjustments helped. I've also noticed that, like, Braxis Holdout's the one map where most people have always said that they have the trouble hearing me. So I don't know if it's just I have my ambient sounds a little bit too high, and maybe I need to tweak those. But definitely the next kind of thing that I'm looking into is just going to get an actual, like, physical mixer and learning how to use one of those and actually, getting the audio quality just a little bit more perfect. But this weekend we're actually I'm going to be building this huge new desk setup I have, because currently I'm just kind of like wedged in a wall with 2 desks and a couple tables holding up computers. But either way, it looks like we have everyone saying that they're ready. Go ahead and say the same, and it looks like we will be going into this draft quite soon. All right, here we go. Into Battlefield of Eternity, our 3rd map of the evening in this best of 3. On the left-hand side, we have Lizard Wizards taking the last map on Braxis, and on the right, we have the Mighty Goats, who took the first game on Immortal Shrine. So, another 2-lane map. This is going to be interesting. Now, on this map, we tend to see a priority on heroes like Lunara, Vala, and Greymane. And the reason we see those priorities is mostly due to the fact that they are extremely strong in the Immortal fighting, like team fighting phase, as well as the Immortal burning phase. So it's definitely something that you want to prioritize as well as keep in mind. So something we usually also see here, because there's that Vala or Lunara, we often see Lunara being paired with maybe Tassadar, and of course Vala paired in with the Ariel. And also because this is a 2-lane map and we have these team fighting situations, another thing that we need to consider in the back of the mind is Cho'Gall. He excels on maps where you have to fight the opposing team, and this is one of those situations as well. As if he does get those kills, he becomes pretty powerful. So it looks like the Mighty Goats, they're going to go ahead and ban out that Vala. They don't want to deal with that late game Hungering Arrow build that she can put out. Hopefully the audio is a little bit better. I turned down the game volume just a couple percent, and I bumped up my mic. For some reason, it's just Windows. Like, there was one time people were saying that my mic was low, and I was like, there's no way. And I checked it. Like, my mic was, instead of being at 100, it was like it was at like 75 or 80%, and I was like, I don't touch these things. Like, thank you, Windows. But either way, we have the Diablo being banned out here. And I like that because that was a pretty powerful hero, but it looks like we have the Mighty Goats picking up Garrosh. And I actually really like this because... So the one thing that I just want to note really quick with Garrosh is that when you have to fight these Immortals, the control that you get with the Garrosh, you can throw these heroes over the wall, you know, behind where, if it's on your safe side, you can technically throw it into the siege camp that's behind the Immortals. So it's something interesting. I'm curious to see the plays that are going to be coming out from him. Now, the Artanis Greymane, this is interesting. That was like decisive too. They were ready with that pickup. That's just so interesting. I like that. Now, typically we see the Artanis here. He's a priority on this map, mostly because of the fact that since there are these team fighting situations.
Death is beyond your reach.
Oh, we did see Gary. We are going to be seeing Gary. You're just, unfortunately, a little bit of a delay behind me, but definitely we are going to be seeing a Garrosh in this game. So the Artanis, the reason he is a priority in this map is because he has the blinds at 10s, as well as the displacement with the swaps are pretty powerful. And he does actually do quite well up against the Immortals himself. So the blinds also, because of the fact that usually you have to get some auto attackers onto that Immortal, that is extremely powerful, especially in those team fights too. But the Malthael being picked up here on the side of the Mighty Goats, and we saw in the first game how strong that was for their team. And so that's definitely something that they need to worry about on the side of Wizards. He's also got dots onto the Immortal too, which is really powerful. So, sorry, I missed the whole ban phase. I was just talking about random, picks and builds and reasons. But so Stitches was banned out.
I will fight to my last breath.
Stitches was banned out probably because the hook into the Garrosh throw would be really powerful, as well as the hook into the roots. Now, Uther being banned out because they just don't have a strong healer yet. So, Uther does do really well because these are team fights. He does have the ghost form, so he does when he dies, he still can heal quite a bit, especially with the 20 talent for the redemption, where you can come back and still keep healing after that small death timer. So, that's just really powerful. Now, Anub'arak being picked up here, so they have the dive for the stun as well as the Rhaegar here, and that's a combination. That's a strong combination. Okay, now that we've caught up on all that, we'll go ahead and these last two picks. So they've got Garrosh for their main tank. They've got their Malfurion for the roots, and that will combo into the Garrosh pretty well. And you have the Malthael for the dive onto that. Now, I wouldn't be too surprised to see something like a Lunara. That is a lot of poison, but I think it's just that'd be really, really good for the Immortal fights. And then pair that well into, honestly, a Sonya or a Dahaka wouldn't be bad here. So they're going to go for the global for the false stab, and they're actually going to get Arthas. Okay, I like this. This is interesting. I like this. Arthas is a really strong solo laner, so I'm just curious because typically, a lot of these maps you often see like a 1-4. Like that's you have your solo laner who goes on top, and you have a 4-man in bottom. We don't often see like a 2-3 or something. It's not what I see too often, but you never know. Everyone plays the map differently. But Arthas being picked up here, I really like that because he's a strong solo laner, and that I wonder if they'll just run the Malthael with the team, because the Garrosh, as I was saying, so Garrosh can get the throw into a Malfurion root, which Malthael can then dive onto. So I don't see a reason why you'd separate that. But this last pick on the side of Lizard Wizard, I honestly think they need range damage. Never mind, they're going to go for a Lucio. So Boostio in the game. This is interesting. I think the Lunara would have been a little bit of a stronger pickup here, but I guess they want that extra healing. Because they're probably going to put the Artanis in the top lane, so you can run the Greymane, Anub'arak, Rhaegar, Lucio together. This is going to be interesting. I like this. But here we go into our third game of the evening in this best of 3. Lizard Wizard versus the Mighty Goats. So on the left-hand side, we have Vyzen on Nubrak, Atten on Rhaegar, Axo on Artanis, Beckon on Lucio, Jonah on Jonah 306 on Greymane. Man, it's just a long day for me. And on the right-hand side, we will have to actually say this as we loading because they really load in this game quick. But on the right-hand side, we have the Mighty Goats with Gofi on Garrosh, Urzus on Malfurion, Fern on Falstead, Unknown on Malthael, and Womack on Arthas. All right. Trying to just drink the last little bit of water that I have here. Alrighty, so at this point it looks like we're going to have that Artanis into that top lane. He will be going into the amateur opponent here. Lucio's actually going to be going into the Accelerado. Nubrak going for the Nubarian armor.
We cannot tarry.
Why is he going into Nubarian armor? That's confusing to me. Because the Falstad isn't going into like Mage Build or anything. I don't play enough of Nubrak to know, but I don't think you need to take Nubarian armor here. I just feel like you could have taken a better first down. Either way, we do have this 4-man in this bottom lane. This is probably what we'll be prioritizing our game for now. But in actually tough, we have the Malthael versus the Artanis. And that's I actually like that a little bit better, mostly because of the fact that he will be able to shoot through his health pretty easily, rather than the Arthas versus the Artanis, because that would just be a 1v1 nightmare. Now we do actually see this Malthael getting a decent amount of damage onto him. I'll try and keep an eye out onto the health for the top lane. Try and catch if we see any of those last minute attacks. Now there is the throw onto the Nubrak. He does get the burrow out. They actually get the pull right back onto this root, and they're starting to surround him. And it looks like they might be able to get the kill. There is the barrel roll in from this Falstad, but unfortunately they overextended a little bit. And Arthas getting killed by the towers there, and actually Rhaegar getting the butt bite onto the Falstad. That's going to be 2 kills going over to Lizard Wizards. So at this point, they're going to back off and play a little bit safer by these gates. This is going to be not the best way to start out. But at this point, there isn't a huge level difference. It's about a half a level lead on the side of Lizard Wizards. But these early game kills, they're not game changing. We do actually have. Flip onto the Greymane, throwing him away from the enemy team. But unfortunately, it looks like we are going to be having the Garrosh falling. They are going to be going out onto the... I guess the Nubarian armor would block the hammering, wouldn't it? I don't know why I didn't consider it as just auto attack, or why I consider this auto attack damage, but we are having this Arthas falling extremely low here, and that is going to be another kill. So it's going to be a staggered death with the Garrosh coming right back up, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and get this this halftime phase, and it looks like the Malthael will be getting the other one down a little bit, and I wouldn't be too surprised to see a race at this point. Now, race-wise, especially with the fact that the entire team is there, I wouldn't be too surprised. Yeah, so it's going to be Lizard Wizards will be going ahead and getting this first Immortal, and it will be about half shields, which aren't extremely powerful, and it is like a 2-minute Immortal, so it's not the most powerful thing in the game right now. But at the same time, they will be able to potentially work down this gate a little bit here. Especially with the fact they do have a little bit of a... They'll have a level advantage. Falco does fly into this top. Malthael is currently in bottom up against Artanis for that side soak. And it looks like they will be addressing onto these forts. And they actually timed out this mini wave really, really well. Rhaegar does dive in. They actually get the pull onto him. Unfortunately, there's no flip over the gate just yet. They will be burning these down. And they will be playing quite safe on the side of the Mighty Ghost. If Immortal does get into melee range at this point because the armor is gone, we'll be able to burn him down a little bit easier. Some of the poke damage coming out on the side of this versus trying to use that Garrosh to pull one of the members a little bit far forward. Unfortunately, they don't get the pull or the flip. But it looks like in bottom lane, just want to note this really quick, this Malthael going up against this Arthas. It's just it's seemingly so one-sided of a fight. Heroes trying to get a pull onto that Greymane. They basically do get the flip onto the Nubrak. He does use some burrows to get back to his friendly team. But at this point, with the 6, with about half a level to 7, they need to play a little bit safe, or they need to get a couple picks here. They got to go quick on the side of the Mighty Goats. Now, Artanis is forced into his gate at this point in the bottom lane, so Malthea does have that under control quite well. They do get the dive in from the Rhaegar. They actually also get the dive in from the Nubrak. Looks like Lucio will be going on a couple of members. They actually flip him over. He's currently isolated from the team. They get the pull back onto him. They actually get the kill. And that actually, you know, starts to swing the experience a little bit in their favor, but at the same time, they will be able to clear out this mid and get 7s on the side of Wizards. Just want to take a quick peek in bottom lane. Looks like this is still just Artanis being kind of forced into his gate. He can't go up against that Malthea because of this percentile damage that he does. And once he kind of actually in bottom lane, we actually have to slow onto him. He actually dives to the other side of the Nubrak and gets out. But I saw on the minimap just that just this aggressive rotation through the right-hand side of the map there. We actually see the Greymane going onto this camp over here, and that should time out. Yep, just about to say, should time out with the Immortal. I believe it's on the same cycle as Infernal Shrines, where it's that 1 minute 45 when the Punisher dies. At this point, we do have both camps being picked up just about as the Immortals are coming out a little bit later on the side of the Mighty Goats, but they will be getting that going up there. We're going to go ahead and have to clear this bottom. Malthael is already in position for that. Let's go ahead and pull away the talent screen for now just so we can see this huge engagement, because we do have a couple of members zoning... Oop, I apologize. A couple of members zoning Lizard Wizards back here. They don't want to lose too much damage. They actually get the flip onto Greymane here, and that was extremely powerful. They actually got the flip on the Malfurion as well, but the Greymane will be able to get out with just about 300 health. And they actually get the pull back onto the Rhaegar. He will be slowed out and rooted, and he will be getting the kill onto him. So that is going to be some aggressive positioning on the side of the Mighty Ghosts because of the fact that they killed out that healer. Now, Lucio is still alive, but it's a 4v... it's gonna be at this point it's like a 2v4, and especially with Malthael coming in, that's gonna be something they're gonna need to worry about because he will be diving onto some of those backline members. They should flip onto the Nubrak. He does use his burrow, but it actually stops midway. They are getting pushed out by this Immortal. Starts to zone some of these members back. This Artanis protection in this backline does get the dash out. This Arthas is just zoning him so well. They actually get the stun from the Immortal onto, I think, the Malthael there. There is the dive in from the Nubrak, but unfortunately, they get the flip over the wall, and they say, oh, Malthael actually will be falling here to that Lucio. But with that, they almost get the halftime phase triggered. They need, like, I think they probably need, like, 1 auto attack on that thing. It looks like, though, they're going to be able to burn down this Immortal Shield. They'll actually be triggering the halftime phase at this point. The Nubrak does zone this back and forth zoning this. They actually get the flip onto one of the members here. The Greymane is trying to get out. They almost get stunned, but they get right out of there. Nubrak now coming in. They're trying to take this fight so that way at least they can get the phase in their favor. And unfortunately, that won't happen because the rest of the team has rotated in at this point. Looks like they're just trying to get that. They're just trying to poke the damage up. Malthael will be going into this Immortal. Looks like they do have this huge skirmish from the mid. They do have the Malfurion going extremely low. They do still go out, and they actually get the kill onto the Artanis. And that was extremely powerful for them. They are a little bit low here. They just need to heal up a little bit, but they need like 1 auto attack on that Immortal, I think. Meanwhile, though, Greymane will be able to get a little bit of poke damage with that cocktail. Alright, they're going to go ahead and go trigger this phase. And that was, I think it was honestly 1 auto attack. But at the same time, they get the root onto this Greymane, who will be able to get away without a problem. So that won't be anything we need to worry about. Now, the 5-man is back, and whoever pretty much takes the team fight will be rotating, or kind of getting their time at the same time. They actually get, the root does not connect on any of the members of Arthas is separated from the team, but the root does go out and actually gets a couple of the members. The background Rhaegar is currently running away. He actually falls to the Malthael, and it's going to be the first kill. Now the flip is onto Malthael to pull him away from the enemy team. Does get a decent amount of healing, but the Greymane cocktail will take him down quite a bit in health. And so with that, the Rhaegar is dead for another 10 seconds. They actually get the pull and the flip onto the Nubrak, who does go over the wall. He will have to back off here now. If he get this. Oh, wow. That Falstad just barely got out. I thought he was like just barely in the circle, but we actually see the Arthas falling here. And now that the Rhaegar's back up, this is a little bit better for the side of Lizard Wizard. They could potentially be taking this Immortal. But at the same time, it looks like a couple of the members did stay behind to see if they would go in for this. Garrosh with his 46 armor is taking more damage from that Lucio, but at the same time, also taking significant himself. Malthael is here to potentially get a pick. They do have 10s on the side of the Mighty Goats, but it looks like their Immortal will be dying. They get a little bit of damage and just take away some of that shield. And I wouldn't be... yeah, okay, so it'll be bottom.
The light of the crystal arch shines on.
Oh, right. And then quickly on some of these 10 towns, we have a web wrap from Anubarak, Rhaegar with the Ancestral, the blind suppression was from the... excuse me, the Arcanist. Break it down from Lucio and Crystal from the Draymond. Now on the side of the Mighty Goats, they went for the actual Warlord's Challenge. Okay, that's interesting. I'm curious to see how it's going to be utilized. They also have the Silence from the Furion, just from the Falstad. Looks like Malthael went to the last rites instead of the Tormented Souls, and we're going to have Army of the Undead.
I must rest for a time.
Just to answer chat really quick, I have no idea why Lucio. I didn't think it was going to be something that they would take, but I think that it's for the extra shielding. The Break It Down is actually pretty powerful in this situation because it is that, you know, it's kind of like an Ancestral, but it's for your whole team, or, you know, Storm Shield. But I think it's really beneficial to the comp that they drafted, and I think it was also to counter the Malthael for the Tormented Souls, but he didn't go Tormented Souls, he actually went for the last right, so I'm curious to see how that's going to be utilized. Now we do have an engagement here, there's a huge swap in the Arcanist. Warlord's Challenge, and so a couple of the members are going to be able to back out here. You get the Ancestry out onto one of the members, the web wrap is out onto one of the members of Mighty Goats, and they are going to start to zone some of the members away from this. Looks like Arcanist will beat the Falstad. Does he have the Gust? He actually disengages with that. We'll be able to get a little bit of healing from the Malfurion. We'll be able to rotate into his team here. That was a weird animation. I think there was a flip, but it didn't happen. It looks like this Arthas will be just barely getting out, actually, and they chase under this tower, and Malthael goes in for the last rites. It actually gets the kill onto the Anubarak. And so I'm honestly so out of tune with the last rites. Let me just so killing enemies reduced by 5 seconds for everyone. Okay. Wow. So that's going to be interesting as the game goes on. If they can actually get those last second kills, that talent is going to be something they're going to need to worry about. But at the same time, they now have the Ancestral. Maybe they didn't know that the last rites was taken and just made the assumption of Tormented Souls. But I wouldn't be too surprised to see that Ancestral now being held out for anyone who gets the mark of the last rite. So that way they don't get that stacking and, you know, any of that kind of stuff. So at this point, it looks like we are going to have just a race.
I seek better ground.
Alright, and then it looks like they will be going over to the safe side, so we'll go ahead and pull down the talents right now, just so we can see all this. It looks like they're actually pinging for the camp behind, and I think they're trying to do what I was talking about in draft. I think they're trying to pull someone in, flip them into this camp, and then they can go around and get right onto them. And I'm pretty sure Lizard Wizard's kind of aware of this, so they're playing extremely safe. They do actually get the root and the stun. Oh, nope, the Cleanse does come out onto the Gradients. That is actually burn temple. We do have the web wrap available. There's a huge swap onto the Malfurion who actually gets thrown away. Oh my god, but the Gust is just a second too late, and they actually get the web wrap onto one of the members here. That will also be the Arthas falling as well. We do have the Garrosh, who I think was the one who was web wrapped out. He is unstoppable currently, but the rest of the team, Lucio boops him back. He will be falling here, and that is going to be a pretty powerful Punisher going over to the side of Lizard Wizard here. And they're going to go ahead and start this camp and let that push up into the top lane while this Punisher, or I keep saying Punisher, this Immortal will be pushing into the bottom lane. And I wouldn't be too surprised to see actually the team rotate. Okay, so they're going to go ahead and rotate in with that. And they have 13s as well, so they have the talent advantage here. Not for an extreme amount of time still. The Falstad probably will rotate and get the little bit of experience they need in this meantime, but they're going to go ahead and just make sure that they burn this down. Make sure that their Punisher gets the most value onto the keep rather than onto the support. Most of the shots have already burned out here. This is a pretty scary march at this point because of the fact, I mean, it's a 13-minute immortal. You still have your gate and you still have your keep, but it's definitely doing a significant amount of damage to that tower already at that range. Now the curse bullet does go out. Oh, I leave that up actually. The talents are being picked up here. And they're playing just really, really passively on the side of Blizzard Wizards. They're looking for their opening. And it looks like they're going to be going on to this creep finally. They pick up the well. Pull in from the Garrosh onto the Nubrak, which he actually gets taunted by the Garrosh. There is a dive out. The break it down is used by the Lucio. They actually go straight onto that Malthael, and that's exactly what I was talking about. That break it down, just giving that extra burst that they needed. So, and that's, I think it was honestly a pick to counter the Tormented Souls. That's my honest opinion of it. That's the reason I would see it being used. But at this point, with the Malthael being dead and the double swap, a huge silence from the Malfurion, the Icebox does go up, they throw the Lucio over the core currently. Now Malfurion being chased away. It looks like they go onto the Garrosh. He will be able to get away. Something Cisco does go out onto one of the members. They actually get the kill onto the Arthas. Looks like the core will be falling. The GGs are called, and this is going to be this third game going over to Lizard Wizards. GG, well played.